It's not just a room, it's a haven, an escape. It's an amazing place. Let's celebrate. Every stretch, every spoon, every wish upon the moon. Night owls, early birds, crowd surfs. Every day, every night. Amazing.
It's amazing what a little snooze can do.
A LISTNR production.
Good morning, it's Larson here. Well, the AFLW trophy could be coming to Brisbane after our women down the Blues at the weekend in Springfield. Our Lions will take on North Melbourne down south in the grand final this Saturday night. With fingers crossed, we could add it to our NRL, NRLW and AFL premiership wins for the year. Hail up to 8 centimetres in size has hit parts of Queensland's southeast overnight. Phelim Hanafi from the Weather Bureau says a destructive storm rolled across Logan, the Scenic Rim and Darling Downs.
Numerous reports as well of around that 5 centimetre size hail. Some of the areas affected Canungra as well, around Mount Tambourine, and then between Bentley and Logan we had a 7 to 8 centimetre sized hail reports as well.
An e-scooter battery is just one line of inquiry into a fatal house fire at Moreton Bay that claimed the life of a 13-year-old girl. The Launton home became engulfed in flames around 5:30 yesterday morning, with the roof collapsing. 4 others were injured, with 2 teens and a man and a woman in their 30s rushed to hospital. And an inquest into the fatal SeaWorld helicopter crash that killed 4 people gets started in Brisbane today. Well, another day, another hailstorm for Brisbane. Jonathan Howe from the Weather Bureau says yesterday's supercell produced some giant hailstones with a chance of more storm action today.
We did see these of 11 to 12 centimetres in diameter, impacting places like Manly out towards Fernie Hills and also down towards Alexandra Hills. We also did see hail of 5 to 8 centimetres from many other places across the city that caused quite a bit of damage to trees as well as cars and property.
Well, Energex says 160,000 homes and businesses were in the dark across the southeast at its peak yesterday, with tens of thousands still without power this morning, the blackouts potentially lasting until tomorrow. Teachers are walking off the job for 24 hours today as negotiations drag on with the Education Minister for better pay and conditions. Union President Cresta Richardson has told us they want to avoid a lengthy arbitration.
At this point, we're heading to arbitration on the 31st of December with no administrative pay increase and a really lengthy arbitration. We're asking for an administrative pay increase of 3%, a narrowing of the issues that would be arbitrated and something that we could take to our members.
Queensland may have to pay upwards of $1 million to get the first test back to the Gabba after 2027. Cricket Australia says hosting rights haven't been locked in beyond 2026 to 27. It comes after a massive attendance in Perth this year, although CA took a $4 million hit after it wrapped up in just 2 days. And as Barnaby Joyce reportedly weighs up whether or not to join One Nation, the party's leader, Pauline Hanson, has cooked him a dinner of steak, pasta and salad. The dinner coming just hours after the Queensland senator wore a burqa in the Senate again.
Well, it's the biggest Broncos rebrand in a quarter of a century. There's a new logo, a Bronco framed in a shield with the word Brisbane, also a stripe which is meant to be a tribute to the Brisbane River, plus a new navy blue away jersey. Club great Darren Lockyer has told Nine it's an exciting change.
Like all sporting franchises, you're looking to evolve, and that's, where we just felt it was time to retire the old brand and look to a new one.
Energex is hoping to have the power back on by 8 o'clock tonight for a majority of households still in the dark since Monday's epic storms. 36,000 remain off the grid, most of them in the Moreton Bay area. The police crackdown on e-bikes has seen over 1,000 fines dished out in just 3 weeks. Around 800 were for not wearing a helmet. It comes as authorities warn parents to think twice about buying one for their kids this Christmas. And a Brisbane author is suing Disney, claiming the studio copied the plot from her e-book for the 5th Indiana Jones movie.
Well, at least all this lightning is fitting for the Stranger Things Season 5 launch today. Further storm action overnight, with Energex recording 1.6 million lightning strikes from Sunday until early this morning. While the severe heatwave continues for Brisbane, Spokesperson Justin Coomber says they're working to get the lights back on for 15,000 homes across the southeast.
The largest area is around Bribie Island still, with the Moreton Bay Regional Council area, about 9,300 customers there, and about 5,000 up on the Sunshine Coast. They're the major pockets of damage that we're still looking at after Monday's storms.
It comes as Bribie Island locals are calling for financial support from the government. A man has allegedly attacked a security guard at the Rufus Du Sol concert overnight. Police were called to Brisbane Entertainment Centre around 7:30 with reports the man was acting aggressively before the gig got underway. A Logan suburbs tops the Queensland list of areas recording the largest house price growth over 5 years. According to Domain, Woodridge has seen a 171% spike to $570,000. And fans took to Brisbane Airport yesterday as England's cricket team arrived in our city ahead of next week's second Ashes test at the Gabba. Our trainer Alan Borderfield this week and have a Noosa holiday planned after the test. Well, more hail across Brisbane, even hitting the party hole at the Australian PGA yesterday, cutting the opener short. Today's looking like clear skies, although heatwave conditions continue with a top of 37 for Ipswich before the chance of more storm action tomorrow. While the Weather Bureau's released its long-range forecast for summer, with daytime temps across Queensland likely to be above average. Meantime, disaster assistance has been announced for 37 of the worst affected areas in Moreton following Monday's supercell. That includes $180 for individuals and $900 for a family of 5 or more. 12,000 were still without power across southeast Queensland as of 9 p.m. last night. 4,500 of those in Moreton and more than 2,000 in Logan. Adelaide has snagged the first test from the Gabba as Queensland pushes to return it to Brisbane before the stadium is demolished. According to News Corp, Adelaide Oval has been locked in for 2027 to 28. Meantime, the Aussie squad for next week's test in Brizzy will be announced today. Bring it home. The Lions have jetted down south ahead of tomorrow's sold-out AFLW Grand Final. And women aiming to secure a 4th trophy for Brisbane's cabinet, hoping to add to the AFL, NRL and NRLW premiership wins this year. A left faction inside the Queensland Teachers Union is looking to challenge leaders over stalled wage talks. It's ahead of the union's 2026 election. The group called Queensland Teachers Fight Back attempted to unseat the president at the 2023 election. To the US, the shooting of 2 National Guard troops near the White House is being investigated as a terror act. Authorities have said the 29-year-old suspect is an Afghan national and is understood to have worked with the CIA in the past. And in news closer to home, the Lord Mayor is lighting up the Christmas tree, the 22-metre display to kick off Brisbane festivities in King George Square tonight. A new bill's been introduced to federal parliament that could see Aussies who share AI deepfakes created without consent cop a fine or be sued. Senator David Pocock is behind the push, explaining to ABC why it's important.
If someone deepfakes you, that you have an avenue to actually get that taken down and potentially actually go through a process of recovering funds for damages.
Federal police have charged 4 men, including the chief officer of an international livestock carrier, after more than 525 kilos of cocaine was found off the WA coast. The packages were found floating in waters off Larson, worth more than $170 million. Parliamentary staff and MPs have been told to lock down their phones in preparation for the arrival of a Chinese government delegation. Officials will be visiting Canberra tomorrow. And the Bureau of Meteorology is being questioned by the federal government as to why its new flawed website cost $92 million more than it said it would.
A man in his 50s has drowned at Surfers Paradise Beach last night. Emergency crews called to the LISTNR just before 6 p.m. Lifeguards pulling the man from the water and performing CPR, but despite their efforts, paramedics were unable to revive him. Our state school teachers will walk off the job for 24 hours, continuing to call for the Education Minister and Premier to come to the table on pay and conditions. Union President Cresta Richardson has told us safety is the focus of today's action.
Safety means having enough teachers to keep our kids and each other safe. Safety means having workload that doesn't break members, driving them into burnout. It also means safe classrooms where violence and aggression is not tolerated and it's swept into the department and ignored.
A 32-year-old Coomba man will be facing Southport Magistrates Court today on an upgraded charge of striking causing death.
after a 62-year-old man injured in an alleged assault on the weekend died in hospital. Police allege the younger man punched the victim during an incident on Scarborough and Railway Streets on Saturday night, causing him to fall and hit his head. Surf Life Saving Queensland has issued urgent safety warnings amid a spike in drowning deaths. A man in his 50s drowning at Surfers Paradise on Monday evening. General Manager of Public Safety Matt Thompson says it is concerning given summer hasn't officially started yet.
We're obviously really alarmed. The fact we've had 10 drowning deaths since August and 4 in the past week. So our message is that we're asking and pleading for the public to stop, look and stay alive. That means swimming at a patrolled location between the red and yellow flags.
Queensland state school teachers are refusing to rule out a third strike before the end of the year. That's despite Education Minister John Paul Langbrook warning it'll make zero difference in their long-running pay and conditions dispute. The unsettled weather continues to roll through the Gold Coast and Tweed, with the chance of more storms developing later this afternoon. Miriam Bradbury from the Weather Bureau says it's been a case of storm, heat and repeat.
We have certainly seen a full week of storms across Queensland, including severe storms for multiple days across much of the southeast. Today is unfortunately no exception. We are expecting the chance of severe storms once again right throughout those eastern districts.
A travel row has erupted inside Gold Coast City Council after Mayor Tom Tate was approved to attend the Winter Olympics in Italy, and CEO Tim Baker charged ratepayers for a US tech conference. The Mayor set to travel to Milan from January 31 to February 11. The Gold Coast suburb of Jacobs Well has been labelled one of the country's real estate hotspots. It recorded a 141% jump in house prices over the past 5 years, according to new data from Domain. Balinga, Mermaid Beach and Maudslin have also doubled in price. Detectives have charged a 53-year-old Currumbin Waters man after a search warrant was executed at a Jurong property in the Darling Downs last week. Police allegedly finding 127 cannabis plants, drug utensils and equipment used to produce dangerous drugs. The man is due to appear in court in January. Bad news for those wanting to break into the Tweed property market. Housing affordability remains at very challenging levels in New South Wales, according to the latest prop track. Senior economist Angus Moore says it's unlikely to improve anytime soon.
We are expecting home prices to continue growing, and with cash rate cuts looking pretty unlikely now, with inflation coming in stronger than expected, affordability is likely to remain pretty strained over the next 12 to 18 months.
Give the man a statue. Cricket legends have called for Travis Head to be honoured following his incredible Ashes century. Former Aussie batsman Callum Ferguson telling the Ashes Wash-Up podcast it was an outstanding knock.
He just said, let's go get him, boys. And look, it does not surprise me. I'll say that. It does not surprise me that he put his hand up. He's that type of character and always has been from a very young age, having played with him at South Australia.
And an apology from McLaren after Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri were sensationally disqualified from the Vegas Grand Prix after their cars failed to meet minimum skid wear measurements. Former Test opener Aaron Finch has heaped praise on Travis Head after his heroics in the Ashes opener. There are calls to keep Head at the top of the order for the second Test at the Gabba, with Brisbane's Usman Khawaja no guarantee after struggling with back issues. He's told us it's $1 million question as to what selectors will do.
There's one case to say you would love an opener at the top with a lot of consistency, whereas Travis Head gives you that explosive intent. There'll be streaks of low outs, but there'll also be streaks of brilliance where you almost guarantee you win the test match from the opening position.
And a poetic return to the training track for our Lions yesterday. Confetti falling off the studs of their boots left over from that latest premiership win for day one of pre-season. While our women are preparing to nab a fourth trophy for Brisbane this weekend when we take on the Roos in the AFLW Grand Final.
Famously a nervous flyer, English quick Mark Wood says he almost drove from Perth to Brisbane after the disappointment of their two-day test loss to open the Ashes. Ward admitting on the For the Love of Cricket podcast they had no answers for Travis Head.
I think when he first came out, I didn't expect it to be so gung-ho, everything and fast forward. I expected it to nip around, I expected it to be difficult. It didn't matter what we did, he just smacked everything.
While former Aussie captain Michael Clarke won selectors to keep the faith in Usman Khawaja for the Gabba Test.
The Australian PGA gets underway in Brisbane today. Cam Smith, Adam Scott and Min Woo Lee all confirmed starters at Royal Queensland. And Matt Renshaw wants to see Brisbane's Usman Khawaja keep his spot for the second Ashes Test, even if that ends his own chance of playing for Australia.
Got an average over 40 in Test cricket. He's played 85 games. He's one of our best batters. I just think, he's one of the best cricketers Australia's ever produced.
Khawaja's trying to overcome a back injury after suffering spasms in the series opener in Perth. A major boost for Australia with reports Pat Cummins will be included in the squad for the second Ashes Test at the Gabba. The skipper's been sidelined with a back stress injury. Selectors are set to add him to the existing 14-man squad without removing somebody else. Well, it's understood Brisbane's Usman Khawaja is tracking well in his recovery from back spasms. The side's set to be announced today. And still no word yet on Payne Haas, with the Broncos refusing to put a deadline on negotiations. It's not yet clear if he'll stay with the NRL or deflect to Rebel Rugby Comp R360.
Mike Hussey doesn't think Travis Head is the right fit to open for Australia full-time in the Ashes. Head filled in for Usman Khawaja in the first test as he dealt with back spasms. The former cricketer has told Sky he's a great backer, but he thinks he's suited to the middle order.
If there's a situation that arises in a game and there's a bit of an emergency, then he's obviously the perfect man to throw up there. He's done it in subcontinental conditions in the past in Sri Lanka and done really well there.
You can hear every ball of the Ashes live on the LISTNR app.
Gold Coasters Brock Fenny and Chaz Mostert are in the hunt for the Supercars Drivers' Championship title in Adelaide this weekend. Mostert's expecting a tight finish in the decider.
Saturday, Sunday, it's always good to finish with a win in the championship. Even I've come here a couple of times before and not been in the championship hunt. It's really important to end your season on a high because it gives you that self-belief going into next year.
Sanctuary Cove golfer Anthony Quayle is just a few shots off the lead after his opening round at the Australian PGA Championship at Royal Queensland. Play was suspended yesterday afternoon because of nearby lightning, with Spain's Sebastian Garcia holding a 2-shot lead on 7 under.
Hisense and the NRL are going big like never before. Go bigger with a Hisense TV.